Hey everybody, or should I say, I am Denise Reed, and this is my podcast, Just a Point of View. And this is all it is, a short coffee break of my point of view as I fiercely and diligently chase happiness. And I know that I've caught it several times, and I thought it would be fun to share it with you as I go through my adventures in life and try to find the happiness factor in it. And I invite you to come along for the ride as we explore the 52 List for Happiness by Moorea Seal on Just a Point of View, my podcast. I had the distinct pleasure of receiving this amazing journal, and I would like to encourage you to either create your own 52 lists in your own journal or splurge like my niece did and buy your own copy of Moorea Seal's fabulous, beautiful journal, The 52 Lists for Happiness, and write your 52 lists in your 52 Lists for Happiness. And I'm taking a podcast a week or episode a week in my podcast to explore her 52 lists and see if I can't make my life a little better and make yours better too, because I have decided to share my list with you. So this week we are exploring list 15. And Moorea Seal basically is exploring saying no. And her list 15 is the list the things you want to say no to. And sometimes it's really, really difficult to tell someone no. I think it is a really difficult thing for parents to say no. As children, I guess we get acclimated to, or at least if you're a people pleaser, we get acclimated to trying to take on more and more and more, so more people will like us, so we can be a part of more things, so we can do a bunch of stuff and explore a bunch of things if you have a high self-confidence factor. And Moorea pumped the brakes on list 15 and recommends that you say no. And Shonda Rhimes, or no, not Shonda Rhimes. Well, anyway, there was a whole thing in TEDx about saying yes as frequently and as often as you could. And I thought, good grief, if you say yes to everything and don't put a filter on what you are and are not able to accomplish or do or accommodate, then you're going to be torn in all kinds of directions. And it may not be the most fun experience that you could have in life by extending yourself too much and not focusing on what's important to you and how to make your life better. So here are some of the things on my list 15 that I want to say no to. I want to say no to stupidity. I have a very confessions of the truth here, low tolerance for stupidity. And when I say stupidity, I mean negating your responsibility because that's your job. That's what you're responsible for. That's what you've said that you're going to do. And you just don't care. That's stupid to me. And that kind of crap drives me insane. So I want to say no to stupidity If you are a sane, competent adult, use basic math and add things up and see if you have enough bandwidth to accomplish all the things that you've added to your plate to do. Sometimes it's just not possible to do it all. So stop it. Okay, here is something else that I want to say no to. And this goes back to my number one thing. Say no to stupidity is say no to the lack of responsibility for your actions by others. So if someone fails to be responsible for something that they are responsible for, don't take it on yourself to correct it, to rescue them, to keep saving someone from their own stupid decisions for their neglect, for their lack of. Just call it like you see it. You can be kind when you do it, at least the first time, and say, this just isn't working out for me, and move on. Anyway, I would like to say that I am going to say no to that. The fact of taking on the responsibility of someone else's lack of responsibility. I'm going to say no to clutter with no meaning or purpose. So if you have a stack of documents on your desk and you're working through that stack of documents, that is not clutter without meaning or without purpose. You have a purpose to get through that stack of items or to file some things as a stack of, I'm going to get this done, because you're waiting on a way to better organize things. So you have a purpose for your clutter. I'm not saying that it's good to keep the clutter hanging out, and it's probably a good thing that this camera is restricted in view of my desk currently, because I have a few stacks of things that I'm trying to figure out what I want to do besides throw it all in the trash can and never look back. I am a little bit on the hesitant side to do that because I keep referencing back to my stacks of stuff. Happy memories, validation of my work, that kind of thing. Anyway, I've got to focus on the no meaning, no purpose, and get rid of some more clutter in my life. So hopefully that's encouraging you to do the same. All right, here's something else I'd like to say no to. I would like to say no to not understanding basic math by adults. There are some adults around me, and I'm not going to name any names, but if you have a list of things that you're responsible for and they cost X amount of money, and you're not making enough money to cover those things, it's time to clean house. It's time to sell some things. It's time to go out and search other sources of revenue. And that's not a loan from someone, that's actual revenue where you can pay these bills on an ongoing basis. That I just choose to say no to. I can't rescue the whole world. I'm trying to go through my list of things that I'm responsible for and be responsible for them. And I want to encourage you to do the same. It is not easy, and although it sounds simple, it is not. And sometimes life throws you some curveballs, and I recognize that. On occasion, I have been known to be behind the 8 ball myself. And hey, I've raised my hand and said, dear person, I recognize that I have accepted more than I am able to accomplish or accommodate. And here's where I am. These are my expectations for being able to do whatever. And I hope that you can work with me while I'm working through this process. And I hold that as a high standard for myself and want to do the right thing by everyone that I work with and for, and try to be really clear in communicating if I'm not able to accomplish a task, raising my hand and saying, hey, I'm not able to do it, but this is what I can do, and I hope that you'll work with me. And then I try to follow up to make sure that it gets executed. Those are just a few things that I feel like I should say no to. And I just have to say the impact of a simple no can change your whole world. Think about, I've earned my gray hair. If my husband had come to me and asked me to marry him and I had said no, my whole life would be totally, totally different than it is right now. So, two letters in one word can sometimes be a complete sentence. You may add no thank you at the end if you want to be nicer about it, or no right now, but maybe later, and this is what later looks like, could be an option if you want to consider that. And it's not easy saying no, even though it's just two letters, and no is said in multiple languages, just like that. No, in Spanish and English. I feel that a simple no can sometimes bring the greatest relief. Just think about that for 1 second. How saying no to something can bring you the greatest relief. I have been following an amazing woman, Kathleen Cameron, and just considering what she is bringing to the table about how your thoughts create things, how an idea can come into the real world because you've had that idea and you've rolled it around in your head and you said, you know what, I think I could do this. And you go out and you do it. She said something really profound in one of her video casts, and I'm still thinking about the implications of it. And she said that the opposite of love is fear. And no is associated with that because sometimes if you really love someone, you have to tell them, no, I can't take on anymore, or no, I can't do that, or no, that's not right for me right now. And do that in a state of love and compassion, because if you don't say no, everything is going to spiral out of control and everyone is going to be stressed out to the nth degree, and you're going to be tearing your hair out. And that's not always a good thing. So no really can create some love in your life. Once people get over the fact that you've said no, you can go back and say, where did I mess up? What was the lesson I needed to learn? And how can things be different? It's really profound what Kathleen Cameron has said, the fact that the opposite of love is fear, because we're afraid of hurting someone's feelings, and sometimes that's just what needs to be done, is to hurt someone's feelings because you can't do anymore. You're drowning in whatever it is that you're experiencing in your life. So I want to share the words of wisdom from Kathleen Cameron about the fact that the opposite of love is fear. And don't be afraid to say no anymore, because sometimes that's the words that the people that you care about or the people that are involved with you need to hear. And it's okay to say no. Just that simple. It's not like there won't be repercussions, but sometimes that's the only answer, and you just have to work through it. So thanks for hanging out with me for this few minutes. And what will you say no to next? Here is an idea that Moorea Seal recommends. She said, did you include the words fear or guilt in your list for what you want to say no to? Do you want to not experience any more fear and not experience any more guilt? She says, so often we spend so much time worrying about whether to say yes or no to a person or an experience that we get lost in the guilt and the worry. It's ironic, since the root of having a hard time saying no is what we're afraid of, and we feel guilty about it. This week, follow your gut and practice saying no to the things that you don't have time for, energy, or desire to do. So skip the guilt phase and enjoy feeling assured of your choices. And that is a recap, or should I say, a fabulous summary of list 15 in the 52 Lists for Happiness by Moorea Seal. And consider saying no, because it may be your liberating moment. So have a good evening. See you later.